Okay, everybody. During the videos, I have prepared a list of excuses for why I screwed up that last interview. Let's start. I was confused. I was misdirected by players. I'm just stupid. It was terrible. I'm sorry, guys. I interviewed the Spider. The Spider lost, and I fully blame the players for misdirection.
I think you just got trolled. They pointed you in the wrong direction. They just said,
I watched a 50-minute game with the Spider losing, and then I interviewed the Spider about winning, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. So let's just move on to the real stuff. We're at the finals here. Mitch, what's going to happen?
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be a best-of-3 extravaganza between SK Gaming and Cognitive EU, obviously for that €7,500 prize. Definitely a nice little bit of change on the side. These guys have come a fair way, some of them especially, not as far as me, but they've come a fair way to have a shot at this stuff as well. It's been a fantastic day here at the ESL CM Storm Arena at Gamescom 2013. The atmosphere has stayed at fever pitch for the whole day. And I guess we've seen some fantastic games behind us as well. Really been hyping that up. And now is the game that counts. Now is that best-of-3 grand final, SK Gaming or Cognitive EU. Who's it going to be?
Absolutely exciting. It's kind of wacky how we arrived here, but let's not doubt that these are the 4 best teams we have in EU right now, and we're about to find out who is #1. So without further ado, we're going to hand this over one more time to our talented casters who are going to take us through a best-of-3 to determine the winner. HiRezBart, Jason Kaplan, it's all up to you now.
Did you hear that? Rachel called us talented. Oh!
That's the first time she's been nice to me, actually.
That's how you know you made it, man. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the beginning of the best-of-3 finals here for, well, I guess crowning the top European Smite team here. It's going to be a matchup between Cognitive EU, the team that qualified via time, and SK, the team that qualified via, well, basically winning a game. So they are going to be going head-to-head here in a best-of-3 series, and we will be getting underway very, very shortly here, ladies and gentlemen. And it is a pleasure once again to join Jason here. Jason.
Oh, so you're joining me?
Yeah, no.
I thought I was joining you.
Well, no, this time I'm going to join you because, you know, you're the host of this wonderful event coming from ESL, the German company, and Gamescom. And so it's like I feel like I'm in your hometown and Cologne. Don't give me that lip.
You didn't complain last night.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a look at the gentleman of Cognitive EU right now. That is Proxy QQ and Sprayyarn. Sprayyarn on the right of your screen.
Now, he knows we're not outside, right?
He's just emulating me.
You know what? Can you cast this game with your
sunglasses? I would be honored.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I will. You know, it's a little bright in here anyway.
All right. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this.
You looking forward to this?
You look as handsome as ever.
Dude, I'm doing my very best to bring everyone out there.
No, you do you and I'll do me.
I liked it the first way.
No. No. That was a typo.
We are just waiting for the players to hop in a match. You see that cue popping on the screen, and we'll be underway with game #1 of the finals. All right, everyone out there, I can hear you. Let's make some noise and cheer these teams on as they start the picks and bans. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So our first band's coming out. It's going to be Tier. They don't want to give that away to Sayo any longer, and that's a large dude. That's going to be now the second band coming out from Sayo here. Let's see what he's going to elect to go with. Will we ever see Chang'e played? Nope, not in this game we won't, because away she goes as the first band for Team SK.
If Bacchus isn't banned, I think he's going to be the first pick, and I think right after that we're going to follow up with most likely an Apollo.
And a Thor.
And a Hercules.
Wow!
I'm gonna take my chances here.
Going on a limb. Naja, Zeus banned out. Okay, so not surprising to see Zeus banned out. It's played in every game that Cognitive U's won. They've played Zeus. So
okay,
ban out Zeus.
I'm with you still.
Okay, so they give up the Athena pick.
Athena.
Who makes it through the banning phase, and we see Apollo Thor follow it up.
I got 1 out of 3. That's good enough.
You know what? For a gentleman of your knowledge level of Smite, I think that's a tremendous achievement.
That's rude. But we do see, it looks like Raw being hovered over, and we've seen quite a bit of Raw today. We've seen supporting types of Raw, we've seen very heavy damage types of Raw, but one fact still remains across those two is that it's always been very strong in supporting in these pushes. With the healing he's been able to do, the healing of the minions, the healing of his team, it allows these extended sieges to really happen, and it's been working out very well, and it looks like we're going to see a very high burst potential come out of Cog.
Yeah, and once again, it all starts with the Athena taunt. She's able to basically in place, pull them any direction she wants to, and then the Agni Ra combination will be very strong. You'll likely see the Ra stay on Sprayon in that solo role, going 1v1, and the question is, what will we see SK do? They've basically picked Isis for that solo role going up against that Ra. In every other game, seems to be a very, very favored god of Suntouch, and they're actually going to go Poseidon and Isis. So once again, taking this kind of double, very nukey, very strong, clear mage strat into those two side lanes for the solo.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no point in picking that last guy because you have Bacchus available, you don't have your support tank built picked just yet, and why show your card of what you're going to play?
I think that, you know, maybe it's just no secret, but I think you're absolutely right, and the better pick here is Bacchus. Secure him, get him ready to go with that Apollo. He's been instrumental in most victories. You know, they did get the Athena. I think maybe they're also thinking, you know, well, they won't pick Bacchus because they already have Athena, but we'll see a Bastet as the jungler being hovered over here by Proxy. You know, is this their trump card? She's often relegated to being like one of the worst gods in the game. It's kind of how most people think about her, but in very unique situations, she could become incredibly dominant. We've seen her played by Xing, notably in the North American scene. But here, Hun Bat is going to be what they switch over to. Finish it up with Shibalanke as their range carry pickup. And so it's going to be the battle of Apollo versus Shibalanke. Neith stays on the sidelines once again, and Poseidon is here looking awfully regal with that trident. And he's going to be looking to put out a hurtin here in that solo side lane. That'll likely, oh, that's actually going to stay on Suntouch, it looks like. So Zelia will be holding down the Isis this game, and they'll have a lot of burst potential once again. 3 big team fight ultimates over here for SK, and really more of a burst damage style lineup for Cognitive. You're taking a look at the rosters here, ladies and gentlemen. We will give a full introduction of the teams once we get them in the game, but for now, we're very excited to bring you game number 1 in a best-of-3 series between the gentlemen of Cognitive Gaming EU and SK. Here, I guess the local favorites, I guess, would be SK. And
if I'm not mistaken, actually, Cognitive, they have a North America team, correct?
They do indeed, yeah. They have a team.
And they're actually, like, pretty good.
They are. They are really the second highest seeded team in North America currently. But that is neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving into the first game. Let's introduce our teams on the blue side of the map. Fighting out of the mini-map, it is Cognitive EU. They are Sprayarn, Mugiwawa, Proxy QQ, Game Hunter, and Restarian playing in order. That is a Ra, Athena, Hunbots, Agni, and Shibalanke. Over on the red side of the map, fighting on the top of your mini-map, they are SK in order. They are going to be Smek, Zalia, Suntouch, Gordak, and Sayo playing in order. That Apollo, Isis, here's your Poseidon, a Bacchus, and a Thor, and they are starting to make their way around the map. And we're underway here in the best of 3.
We are, and this is going to be a very important game. You have to look at it in the fact of how do you play the best of 3 versus the best of 1? Do you go crazy in that first game? Do you play something you know and something safe? That way, if you do lose that game, you can obviously go into the next one with a little bit more craziness, or you kind of win this game, and then you can play it safe yet again. But we've already seen same kind of thing. It's pretty standard what we've seen all day. Just pushing up, putting a couple of wards down, and getting that vision. Yeah,
it's, you know, it's one of those things where there's a huge difference between first place and second place in this tournament. It's a difference between 7,500 and 3,000 euro. So it's a 4,500 euro difference between first and second place. So I think getting a win in the first game is going to be something that is very highly valued by both teams, because not only do they want to win, they also want to win with style. So they're probably want to win the first game and then pick something like stylish in the second game and win with it. I think that's like ultimately what they're after, because at the end of the day, this is you know, it's a burgeoning game, a burgeoning community, and they really are, they want to make a name for themselves. So we'll see if they go for super conservative picks. But my guess is the team that wins first is going to try a little bit more of a maybe a little more shenanigans-based second game and try to eke out maybe a really easy win off of something a little bit more, or rather less conventional.
Do you see right now SK going to start off here at these Harpies, and right now no one on Cognitive is really going for that just yet. We do have them split up here, going to be taking away a blue buff on that left side. And right now, I mean, it's kind of the first time we haven't seen the Harpies really taken over on both teams at the same time.
Yeah, SK takes both of them here. Okay, I thought I had just seen like the beginning of a wild new meta. I thought we were going to see Poseidon and Isis in the mid lane here, but no, they're not actually going to run that. That, of course, would be crazy talk. But we do have the lane starting to shape up. It's going to be an Apollo Bacchus going up against Athena and Shibalanke. This time over in the long lane is where that 2-lane going to be. A 1v1 matchup of Poseidon and Agni in the mid, and then it's going to be Isis and Ra in the right side lane. And Right now, Sayo trying to get his jungle started with the Thor. We saw him play Thor, and it actually didn't work out that well for him. They won the game, however, but it wasn't like he was incredibly dominant. However, his positioning was quite nice, but just the Thor pick overall started to kind of peter out. He's actually going to go in and find a lot of damage here on a Game Hunter, maybe going to get a kill. Needs one more auto attack to really secure it, and he's going to get it. First blood goes to Sayo, hitting level 3. That's going to slingshot him ahead of Proxy QQ on the other side, and that's going to keep Xbalanque down. Really couldn't have asked for a better start for SK.
I think out of their 4 games right now, he's been able to pick up first blood twice or 2 times of them, and that's actually a great job of him. It shows his pressure he puts in the jungle very early. It shows the awareness he has, as we do see another kill coming in, so a very early 2-0 start for SK here. And they're looking very strong. We do see him actually going in on Agni here over in middle.
Yeah, they're going to try to maybe find a kill there, but no, it's going to be HiRezBart that actually falls in the jungle. That kill going the way of Xaylia, actually finding him out and picking up that kill. So down will go the HiRezBart just like that. And now we will be moving on with SK with an advantage here at 2 minutes with 2 kills. And taking a look already at the graph, it's starting to skew their way. 1,000 gold and 500 XP already their advantage in the first 2 minutes of the game. And if you let them pick their start, I think they would have picked one that looked an awful lot like this.
I would take that one definitely any day. And you're going back, buying up some items here. And right now, with how the lanes are matched up, which team do you favor in terms of, who's going to win what lane?
Well, I think that that Sprayon has historically, this tournament, won this lane as the Raw, basically just out-sustaining whoever he's up against, and eventually they have to go try to, help with some team fight, and he takes the tower. That's been his kind of MO with Raw so far. But Isis is a really, really strong laner. I think this one maybe is a wash. In the mid lane, Poseidon versus Agni basically comes 100% down to player skill, both with a lot of burst potential. Agni, of course, has a little bit better utility in the later parts of team fights. The left side lane, the Bacchus Apollo up against Xbalanque Athena. I think I give it to Bacchus Apollo just because this Bacchus can roam, and it's a lot easier for Apollo to get out of trouble than it is for the Xbalanque.
And remember, we've seen it, I think, one Agni now today. This is the second one of the day, and obviously that one, he didn't build a lot of power, magic power. He built kind of utility, like with that cooldown reduction. And do you think we're going to see that same kind of build come out of him this time? Yeah,
actually, I expect we will. Here comes Thor, however, ulting in on top of Sprayon, and he will fall just like that. Xaylia picking up that kill. That ultimate doing a lot of damage, charging up quite quickly as those ults came in. But yeah, I actually do expect him to build this not, well, I don't know, maybe now he's getting that solo lane farm. He may go a little bit more damage-oriented. We used to see the Spear of the Magus picked up almost all the time on this god. His passive is basically, once he hits 4 auto attacks, his next ability that's not his flame dash or the smoke will dot. So the Spear of the Magus stacks up a magic debuff each time it hits, or you're hit by an ability, which includes the dot of Agni. So you would see him basically shred through magic, magic protections really, really cheaply. But I don't know what Restarian's thinking here. If he goes cooldown reduction boots, I think you'll see that Breastplate of Valor Voidstone build again. If he goes for penetration, you may see him going into Spear of the Magus and really look to be a massive damage dealer this game.
Well, this is actually one of the few teams that runs that double magic power kind of compositions. We've seen a lot of, or we've seen actually one team in particular, I can't remember the team off the top of my head, ran full physical power today. And it actually worked out very well for them. They were able to, I think that was caught to VU, now that I think about it, earlier on in their win when they completely destroyed Vengeance, but we're going to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, and it looks like Thor is looking to set up an opportunity in the mid lane. He's not going to find it there as of yet. And one thing that we haven't really talked about so far, besides his early death, has been Proxy's HiRezBart here is quite a bit behind Sayo, about 500 individual gold behind Sayo. He has hit level 5, then that ultimate is available. He needs to convert, I feel like. But he has continued his jungling. Athena and Xbalanque go against this Apollo Bacchus. There really shouldn't be kills in this lane, considering how good of fuel Bacchus and Athena both have, but it's always possible. And Apollo is just so slippery with that ultimate. Unless you see a big rotation from the Kraken wielding Poseidon here, I don't know that they're really going to be able to set up kills efficiently, but I really like to see the HiRezBart get involved with a kill here in the next maybe 90 seconds.
I mean, we did see one of them earlier on today, and remember he actually had to back at level 1 when he was attacking the jungle mobs, came back in, and the thing was, due to him, they were able to win the game, even though he had that really weak start. He's been farming up constantly. He's been at least keeping a lot of gold income in his pockets. He hasn't really fallen too far behind. Obviously, he has fallen behind in general, but Thor has been so much more effective in this game. He's been around the map. He's been making these ganks really happen right now.
Yeah, he's sitting at 225 gold a minute here as Proxy on the HiRezBart versus Sayo sitting at 317 gold a minute on your Thor. So Sayo out to a pretty significant lead over HiRezBart, really roll to roll.
And who's going to be more effective late game, though? I mean, obviously, I would imagine Thor is stronger earlier on because you have that ultimate to just go for these really strong ganks. But,
yeah, you're absolutely right.
But like the late game, I mean, I don't think he really, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much. It really doesn't do too much.
Basically, you're looking at Thor is relying a lot on his abilities to deal damage to Mjolnir's Attunement and the Berserker Barrage, aka Spin, to win. And of course, you know, in-hand attacks scale better into the late game, and HiRezBart has actually a hit progression where he will deal double damage on one of his abilities. It takes twice on his hits. And so his is a little bit wonky, but basically think about it, it takes twice as long to come out, but deals double damage. And if that crits, obviously he does quite a bit of damage. We're going to have a stun set up, but no Whirlpool available from Poseidon to try to capitalize on that. For the meantime, Sayo going to run into Proxy in the jungle. Will we see the ultimate come out? We will not indeed. Proxy not feeling lucky today.
Yeah, and we didn't really have a lot of mana left as well, so he's just making sure to play safe. They kind of do want to make a kill happen, but unfortunately they just don't really have the ability to just yet, and doesn't want to really throw away that lead that he's been able to build up over Cognitive EU here. But right now, we're starting to see the differences go back to normal. I mean, the experience-wise, they're only 183 in favor of SK, but the gold, it's staying flat at that 1,400 lead.
Yeah, it has, yeah, and that gold advantage is really mostly residing on the difference between the junglers and the solo laners. Xaylia doing really well at 4,500, Sayo at 4,200, both of them with the kills. In fact, Xaylia sitting at 2-0 on this Isis is just really kind of having his way with Spray Arn. Those rotations have been really strong. And over here, this left side lane will find a kill onto Shibalanke. I'll actually pop us back in time here real quick and see how that actually did happen. So how do they get under tower and deal so much damage to him is the question. One auto attack hits. Oh, Shibalanke uses his dash too early, trying to clear the wave, and they just get the knock up, and it's just enough to pick up that kill. So now in the mid lane, it looks like Thor is going to try to rotate in here and find a kill on the Spray. There's a stun. Will the Kraken come out? It will indeed, and that is a dead Agni as well. So two very, very quick kills, and we'll go ahead and throw it into 2x speed here as we go back to live. And we'll catch up now with Ra and the Isis here, I'm sorry, as they find and really kind of push each other back and forth. And we'll be back to the live game in just a moment here as we wait on that. As I did want to pause it to show you guys that kill. It seems like an important one, because how did they convert that under the tower, right? I mean, they found a way to stun out Game Hunter. They had that Mez from Apollo, and then the follow-up from Bacchus was just strong enough to find that kill. And
I feel like that was Game Hunter kind of messing up, but it was a great job by SK to capitalize on that mistake.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, you see him use that dash to try to clear the wave. That's really his primary escape tool, and he paid for it very, very dearly. HiRezBart has an angle on Xaylia here, though. He may be able to convert a kill. Let's see if he's able to get in there. He will. Here is the ultimate coming out. The beads being used right away, and the ultimate being popped up by Xaylia. Going to fight in the ultimate, giving damage reflect, and will heal him. But here is a stun out from Agni over the wall, and down will go Xaylia to Rastarian's rotation. Looking pretty good so far, as I see Smek has used his ultimate to come over here towards the Gold Fury, but won't continue any further. But Kog EU gets on the board 1-5 at 9 minutes in favor of SK, and they are leading now by 2,200 gold and 2,300 experience.
I mean, it's a good job by Cognitive to really kind of get back in this. They were starting to let it slip away quite a bit. I mean, 5 deaths in a row for their team, but able to pull back one at least does help close that gap currently. And right now, I can't remember if I asked you this because we've done it so many times so far throughout the day. But you know, what team do you really favor early? What team do you really favor late?
Well, you know, I think that had you, yeah, you know, I clearly it has to be SK, right? I mean, they're up 5 kills, so I'm gonna.
I mean, based on composition.
Yeah, based on composition, I think that. Yeah, I'd favor them early. I mean, they have the AoE stun. However, we're going to have Rastarian in some trouble. He's going to aegis through that Kraken. The spin to win is out on top of it. They're going to be able to save Poseidon's life, it looks like, but here comes Apollo. Will it be enough? Stun touch picked up by Proxy, but Rastarian will fall. Running in is Game Hunter. The stun comes out from Thor. Do they have the follow-up damage? Ultimate comes out from Isis. They're looking for Game Hunter. They're trying to go in. Proxy picks up a double kill, finding Sayo in the back as well. Does that HiRezBart. Proxy doing work in this fight. Didn't actually catch either of the kills he picked up. Was focused on the main skirmish in the mid, but you know, I think that the early game goes in probably the favor of SK. They have Thor, who has a very nice early game presence. As we mentioned, he gets a lot of damage from his abilities, but as does HiRezBart here. But with you know, the Apollo with the Mez and the dash, a lot of control there, the knock-up and stun of Bacchus, the big AoE stun of Isis, and the cripple Whirlpool is really, I think, what seals the deal. The early game presence really from Kog EU resides mostly in the Ra and the Agni. Agni puts out nice damage once it hits that level 6, 7, 8 range. And Spray Arn, the once max ranked, the Blessing, Solar Blessing, the big healing ring, is a tremendously strong spell in the early game because it heals so much and mitigates so much damage, and you deal additional damage while standing inside of it. So it's just an all-out great ability for early game. But the edge goes to SK. For the late game, it is...
Well, one thing I'm looking at is that, yeah, I think it depends on where they fight, where
that's right.
Both teams actually have a decently strong composition to fight in the jungle, it seems. It just depends on who gets their combo off first. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, it's all about Cog EU having that Athena and Hun bots being able to control the enemy team and set up those ults from Agni and the Ra. So if they can get those combinations together, they will win the team fights. However, it's a much trickier proposition than what SK has to do, which is simply get Sayo into the team fight, have that stun come down, fight in Zalia's ultimate, and then use the Kraken and any of the other burst abilities they have between the Apollo putting out what damage he can, and the Bacchus as well. Going in deep now on the Game Hunter, they smell blood. The knockup comes through as well. So beautiful on cooldown. It's going to miss actually. Game Hunter dodges it. Now going back through, need one more auto attack. Bacchus cannot get into range. Yes, he can with the Intoxicate, and down will go Shiva Lanke, being played by Game Hunter underneath the tower, and that is going to be that for the Jaguar man.
And you were saying earlier on today, or earlier on in this game, that you wouldn't really expect any kills, but they're able to dive into the turret, get that first kill later on, and then now they're really stamping their dominance on this lane, able to pick up another kill. Smekington 1-0-3, Gorthak 1-0-2. They've definitely been doing a great job of making sure to hold down SK's, range carry support tank lane.
Sayo just barely misses Restarian there, but it may still be enough damage. Spin when it comes out, and yeah, it is. The early advantage from... Oh, he's going to get Fear back into tower range. We'll continue that in just a moment. Will he be able to get out? He will not indeed. Athena is going to come in as well. That was what was channeling underneath that Hun bots. Here comes Zalia trying to put him what damage he can. He's going to get taunted back, but beats it immediately, knowing he's in serious trouble. That's a beautiful Kraken. It should hold him back for a moment, but will it be enough? Still trying to get out. The stun comes out. I'm sorry, the silence comes out. Now falling back. The leap comes out from Proxy. Overhead smash going to be enough to secure that. But in the meantime, look where Apollo is. He's going to actually creep skip here and put in a lot of damage onto this tower, kill that last big minion, and sit here and auto attack. The TP being channeled, Athena rotating in as well, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to hold him down. Ultimate is not going to be available, however, for Smek, and that could spell trouble. He's going to pop beads as well. Bacchus is going to rotate in and try to peel for him. Will it be enough is the question. It will indeed. Gorthak looking strong. That tower still eating a lot of damage, though. And
they're doing such a great job, Cognitive, of catching SK off guard, picking up some kills, and we saw in the game of SK versus Vengeance early on today that Vengeance kept forcing some fights against them, kept going back in one after another, and it seems like Cognitive has found like a balance between fighting SK and fighting them when they know they can win, or kind of backing off when they should, and they've been able to kind of really feel them out quite a bit, considering the lead that SK had. They were 5-0 up, and now it's currently 8-5 in favor of SK.
Yeah, it is, and that 8-5 advantage at 14 minutes is translated into a 1,200 gold advantage, but the XP advantage has just shrunk. I mean, just basically gone completely away. At one point, 2,500 experience in to their side, but now it's only a mere 300. Same for gold. Gold also getting down there. So, really getting back into this one is Cog EU on the back of that last fight.
And the thing is, it seems like that gold advantage they do have is actually in the hands of, well, pretty much Proxy QQ. Like, on the other side, he has all the money for him, and on SK's side, they have 2 people with 3 kills right now, so they've been able to kind of spread that out. We do see a fight breaking out. Turret does drop. Apollo's coming in, or out.
He's going to get out on his, the swag wagon, is that what you called it?
That's what you just named it that, sir.
I know that's your favorite ability in the game, but he will get out, basically goes in, just dives the tower, eats some tower shots, and then immediately starts channeling his ultimate, and was able to get out in time. Not enough burst damage at this point in the game to take him down before he gets out of there, and you can't see him out of that channeling period, so he basically, you were forced to try to burst him down. Not going to be successful, and that will net them yet another tower, so that's going to push our gold difference back to that about 2,300 mark in favor of Team SK, and now they can turn their attention to maybe this right side tower, look to push through the Ra, perhaps make a play in the mid.
I think he's trying to do, though. He's trying to actually make it so Sided misses some CS right there. Maybe so he can't get all those creep hits because he gets extra, was it 33 or 30% extra gold from last hitting a creep?
It's 33, I believe. And Proxy here running away from Thor in the jungle. They did see each other and have a little bit of a slap fight, but that seems to be that style getting the better of him, it appears, as Proxy runs away, limping just a bit. Here comes Sayo. He wants to find a kill. He may have found one. Oh, the dash through. Is it enough through the wall? There's a stun. It's good so far, but there is no follow-up. He's going to throw out Mjolnir. It's not going to be good enough to want to teleport in and try. Just a little bit indecisive in that rotation. Could have maybe immediately thrown out the stun and put something together with Poseidon. But with the Kraken available, I think just now coming up off cooldown, it just wasn't there for him. And now it looks like Sayo is considering channeling this ultimate and looking for a kill onto the Ra. Let's wait for him here and see if he, oh, here it goes. So Thor going to go up in the air, and he's going to look for this kill on Ra. He's trying to line it up. Poseidon moving into range. Here it goes, into tower range. They're going to get him. It's in the Whirlpool. The follow-up stun will guarantee the Kraken hit, and down goes Spray. Now, will this be the push that gets them the tower? The tower has been chipped away a little bit. Maybe we'll see the Apollo rotate over here. Does he have the ultimate available? It has come back up. Would not be surprised at all, but it looks like they're going to try to make a play on the mid lane and a Mugi. Not going to find that, and Thor's going to go back to the jungle, so there's not going to be a push into the right lane. It may come into the mid, though, as Smek has rotated here for that range carry role and maybe try to pick up some tower here, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. They're not willing to risk that much.
Yeah, it seems a little bit hard to dive that Agni and that Athena under turret right there with the taunt, not to mention the stun that you can have come out, but we already did have one turret go down for SK. We're able to take that one over on that left side of the map. And right now, I mean, still a very close game. And I was about to ask you right before we saw Thor go in for that gank, if this was the time he starts to fall off. And clearly not, because they're still in that laning phase. But it seems like it's only a matter of time before that happens. And it's only a matter of time before SK loses that early game advantage.
No, I think this is really the time where Thor shines. This is like, he's really hit his stride in this kind of like, really smack dab in the mid-game period. He gets his Jotun's Wrath up and running. He gets his Void Blade up and running. He has nice cooldown reduction, a lot of flat pen, and he just puts out those abilities over and over again. They deal 500-600 damage a pop with the spin to win, and Mjolnir's a two-man combination, probably putting out about 1,000 burst damage on top of his ultimate. He can run up maybe 1,500, let's say. And that's really where he shined. Now, moving into the late game, unless you build him in kind of a more wonky auto attack based build, that's really significantly less popular. You don't see him really having that late game presence, but he finds it other ways, right? Setting up those stuns in the back line, getting the walls off, and the spin, certainly no slouch, but not putting out damage like a range carry would in the late game.
And how does SK's team comp work in these team fights? I mean, you mentioned before getting into that back line, getting that stun with Thor, but what do they follow up with? Like, are they trying to kill the back line, or are they just trying to kill whoever comes at them?
I think what they're really looking to do here is what you're finding is, as we have a little bit of initiation in the mid on the Isis, Athena ult can be used as well to try to burst down Zaylia. Zaylia going to pop his ultimate to save himself, but it's not going to be enough. Mugiwara comes in for that kill. Now the rotation comes in from Sayo. That's a nice double taunt coming in. Apollo's going to rotate as well. Who are they going to target? It's going to be Restarian, but they're not going to be able to find him. Now they're fighting in the Ra beam. Down goes Sayo to spray on. A nice snipe. Game Hunter looking for a kill in the Bacchus. They find Hunbots in the back. Does Sun Touch playing this Poseidon, but that may not be a good enough bounty for him as Gortok's forced to fall back, and Smek has come in as well. A pause comes out from Restarian, so the admins will be sorting that. But to answer your question, the fight basically works like this. Zalia's ult on that Isis has a damage mitigation component of it, so they stand in the circle. It builds a charge based on how much damage is dealt while the players are inside of it, while mitigating damage as well, and then can be detonated to heal and deal damage. So they use that, they get Thor into the back line, and then they can follow that up when they try to disengage with the Apollo, and that's what you've been seeing. As people try to run away, Apollo comes in and cleans them, while you have Gortok and really Sun Touch there. Gortok primarily to peel for the players, where Sun Touch is primarily going to be there to provide just any additional burst or zoning in the cripple effect in his Whirlpool. We are back for the pause, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that answered your question, Jason, because we are going to continue moving right along here. The score is 7-10 in favor of Team SK, and they are up by a, well, we'll see if Apollo falls here, and then we'll evaluate it. He will indeed. Smek picking up that kill. It's going to be, I'm sorry, Smek getting killed there. It's going to be a 2,300 gold advantage for the gentleman of SK, but the experience is still basically all square here, and the gold is going to shrink as this tower gets basically blown up by Cognitive EU.
We haven't seen a Gold Fury taken any time just yet, or any time at this game so far, but it seems like we're at that point where that could start to come into effect. I mean, they killed 3 people in SK. I guess they had the potential to take it, as they did have their Hand of Gods available, but it seems like they really want to take that turret down, really kind of get that advantage, you know, the vision advantage around the map, and also the control around the map.
For the last maybe 10 minutes, it's just kind of been like this
skirmishes around
one elongated fight in the mid lane.
Yeah,
is what we've basically been seeing here. So, you know, I'm not sure if this is, let's take a look at the graph, right? And it seems to be a little bit in favor of Cog EU. I mean, they've just basically steadily been climbing over the last, say, 3 to 4 minutes. You can just see a couple of plateaus there where they found a new normal of farm, and that's really good news for them, helping them get back into this game. Agni continually being difficult to lock down, however, that stun's going to hit, but they don't have the follow-up as Ra is porting in. The jungler's going back to doing what they do best, and you know, in situations like this, it's just a shame to not see the Apollo split pushing really hard.
Yeah, I really wonder, is that due to the meta? Is that due to both teams running a fight, or is that due to just the style of the players? Because, I mean, we've already seen how impactful a split push can be, but we haven't seen any other team do it yet.
Yeah, you know, I think that in this case, Smek wants to get the split push, but, you know, he knows he can't go lane against that Ra, so they have to draw the Ra out into a team fight and then have him go to the right lane, I think is the answer. And then force rotations back towards him, let him port back maybe over to the left, or sorry, use his ult to go back over to the left side. You know, and just keep them guessing which side he's going to be on, and maybe that's a good way to spread the map out and force them to make some mistakes. I think unforced errors is really the name of the game here for SK. If they can force Cog to make those mistakes by trying to chase down this Apollo or overcommitting to killing him, or the Isis, who can get quite tanky as well, and with that damage mitigation and the ultimate, that's where their team fight, their turnaround potential is just enormous with that Kraken, as well as a combination of Kraken, Sayo on that Thor dunk, and the Intoxicated Bacchus is a lot of burst damage in CC.
It also seems like Smek's missing out on his next stacking item. I mean, usually around 20 minutes or 21 minutes in, he has both of those, and he's able to really put out quite a bit of damage. But right now, it seems like he's been shut down, and I say that awkwardly because he was even getting 2 kills in lane, but he just seems to not as had an easy time as he's had before.
Yeah, you're right, and you know, he's only sitting on 570 gold basically in his pocket, so he's not even really close to getting that next item. The interesting thing will be, will he elect to go for that Soul Eater build? We've seen him go so many times before in this tournament, or will he build into those Devourer's Gloves? Quickly to recap items, we have a Mystical Mark being worked on by Gortak in place of the Sovereignty. We've seen him go recently, basically respecting the physical damage output of Proxy and Game Hunter. We have the Ethereal Staff being worked on by Zalia, giving us some extra magical power and health. We have Focus Voidblade and Jotun's Wrath finished on Sayo, and the Rada Tahuti being worked on by Suntouch, what I think we now can call the Suntouch build, as he has, I think, gone that exact same build in every single game.
And it's going to put out like a surprising amount of damage that I don't really know if Cognitive EU is really prepared for when that does, or that item finally gets finished up. And we're still 22 minutes in, we still have yet to see the Gold Fury actually been started by either team. And it seems like they're just kind of waiting for that moment where maybe if they get 2 kills here or there, they're just going to kind of rush that one down, as turrets are starting to still take quite a bit of damage right now. But we do see Thor coming in middle here, and it looks like they're just going to try to get away or actually go for the dive for that. Instead, they go for the turret, and they pick that one up.
Yeah, they find the turret. Apollo going to ult across the sky over to the left side lane.
He's like, sup, guys.
Yeah. Hey, buddies in the mid lane. I'm going to go hold down the left side lane from the split push of Shibalanke. So he'll stall that out, and that should be that for the moment. Ra, however, on the other side of the map, does pick up that tier 1 turret over in the right side lane. So the first tower kill does come out for Cog EU. But now, speaking of that, Ra caught out into a little bit awkward position, knocked up. Shibalanke ultimate going to be used. Sayo going up in the area as the Thor. Where is he looking for his target? Who's it going to be? He's just going to go back to safety and continue his farm. It looks like it's going to be a recall, in fact. Mugiwara perfectly comfortable staying out and trading pokes with that very tanky Athena, also with the dash able to get out of trouble pretty easily. And to answer my earlier question, Smek will be going that Soul Eater build on the back of the Heartseeker, and in fact Game Hunter follows suit with the Soul Eater rank 1 of his own.
All right, so we see the item builds finally coming in, and I don't know about you, but all the Athenas we've seen today, Mugiwara was playing his really passive, it seems, and I mean, it's kind of reflective of how SK's been bringing the aggression and forcing the fights against Cognitive EU, but he hasn't really been around the map as often. I don't know, that might be just me, but...
You know, I think that when we've seen the Athenas played in general, in most of the games they've been coupled with a Thor or an Apollo, which allows for much more aggressive play with that ultimate, because you can kind of start channeling it as those big kind of like global repositioning ultimates are being used. So you can actually be much more aggressive with it, versus here where ideally it's going to be that Hunbot's throwing out a stun that allows the channel to come through, because actually when Athena lands, she deals a lot of damage. In fact, I believe the base damage at max rank is like 900 or something.
Oh, wow.
It's really high. It's really high. So, you know, setting it up is very difficult because everyone knows it's coming. It channels for like 4.2 seconds, I want to say, up the top.
That makes you think, why not run a Hades instead of a Ra?
It's more that Spray style. Spray plays basically heavily sustained base gods. Hell and Ra are his go-tos.
Okay.
And I think it's kind of that point earlier of Hades. Hades is really good at making people use escapes and use purification beats to get out of things, more so than necessarily locking them down unless you use it at the perfect time. Hunbots, however,
that's what I was thinking. The combo of Hades Hunbots, so you pull them in, you have the fear to keep them there, you have the easy Athena ultimate coming in, but I mean, obviously you're going to play a champion you're more comfortable with than necessarily what could make you well, not make you a stronger team fight, but what what I'm trying to say is you want to play something you're comfortable on than someone you're not as comfortable on.
Right, of course. I mean, and that can be echoed by like in our like ranked queue. So in ranked play, Athena is the like if you have Athena on your team, you like are like 20% more likely to lose. even though she's first picked in competitive play,
wow.
It's just if you don't have that coordination, the god is just not that potent without coordination.
Let me ask you, what god has the highest win rate in ranked queues, if you know?
It's actually Arachne.
Oh, wow. As you were saying before, like really high-level games.
Yeah, in high-level games, she does really, really well. Has a lot of deaths and gets a lot of kills. But I think it's the jungle control, and it's in the solo games of ranked, right? In solo queue, you can take those objectives really easily with her. So she can carry teams by taking the gold fury repetitively and just giving them gold.
Okay.
And so it's kind of at least that's what we guess, because we look at the stats, we're kind of like, how does she do so well? Because she has she's one of the I think top 5 most deaths, and in maybe the top 10 most kills, and very low on assists. So, but that's neither here nor there, ladies and gentlemen. We are in game number 1 of the finals here of our Gamescom tournament. From Gamescom, it is the top 4 European teams fighting it out. COG EU and SK are going to be your number 1 and number 2. The difference between first place and second place is 4,500 euros, 7,500 going to the winner, and 3K going to the loser of this match. It is once again a best of 3, and this is game number 1. And currently, SK does have a lead, but that lead is rapidly shrinking down to 800 gold, and their XP is actually now in favor of COG EU. So kind of quietly over the last maybe 10 minutes, COG EU has been taking back their dominant position in this game, and they really haven't been ahead at all up until maybe after this next tower goes down, they'll find a gold advantage.
And it kind of shows that SK, they have a strong early game, but they kind of lose it as the game goes on. I don't know if it's about finding exactly where to go. I mean, I'm thinking back to the game when they played against Bipolar Method, where they were losing, or they were winning in the beginning, then they were losing for a good portion of it, but because of that overcommitment of Bipolar, they were able to turn that game around. And right now we do see a fight potentially breaking out here, but it looks like SK doesn't want any of it. Yeah, SK is going to try to disengage. Style's going to go up in the air. Will he look to re-engage? It looks like he's looking for it. He's going to try to stun them out inside that Isis ultimate. He's just going to fall into it, in fact, himself. Now getting quite low, and the Hunbots is going to be able to pick him up. Maybe not a great call by Sayo, and now in a little bit of trouble here. But will Xaylia be able to pull back through? Bacchus in some trouble. Athena ult coming in. Can they burst down spray in time? They cannot indeed. He's going to heal back up in his healing beam. They're going to leap on to Xaylia, and Proxy QQ trying to now disengage. Spray with a snipe, going to miss a wonderful dodge by Xaylia there, or Xaylia, I'm sorry. And well, now it looks like he will get an effective disengage in the back line. Now Smek finds a kill, and Xaylia actually turns that around. No, I'm sorry, goes down to Game Hunter. Restarian picks up Sun Touch as well. So a 4-for-1 exchange in favor of Team Cognitive EU. They won't be able to convert much out of it. Well, is he? Yeah, he's recalling. Okay. Yeah, they won't be able to convert much out of it, but they will take their first gold advantage of 1,500 and a 4,000 XP advantage, and they have now gotten control of this game. And we do have a lot of items coming in too. I mean, we're 30 minutes in almost. It's starting to develop quite a bit. Is there anything particular that you see that's a little bit different? I mean, we do see a mystical mark coming in for Gortok, which I think is the second one we've seen today, I think. Yeah, it is the second one we've seen today. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's basically just respecting that physical damage of Game Hunter and Hunbots. It'll help that and the AoE magic damage. But what appears to be a very nice Fire Giant timing. No contention. Apollo, kind of casually making his way over there, but there's really nothing he can do, and he's not going to make it in time anyway. Down goes the Fire Giant in favor of COG EU, and if they play this right, they should be able to clean up the rest of the towers on the map and start putting pressure on the Phoenixes. I'm trying to think right now. Does SK know? I mean, well, obviously they do now when they show up into this lane, but that's definitely a good take by them. And we've seen a lot of teams struggle in terms of taking that, or just going for that objective, kind of getting, for the lack of a better way of saying it, getting the balls to go for it. And obviously with that last bit of team fight, they were able to take it, and maybe even the Gold Fury off the back of that too. And that's going to be a huge chunk of gold that they're going to be able to lock down. And right now, with no one on SK even in the vicinity of this except Gortok, they should be able to lock that one out. And shout out to Mugiwawa here, 3-0-5 on Athena, playing a great support game here. Has his sovereignty done, working towards Bulwark, has not gone any of the GP5 items, but is still sitting pretty at 9,300 gold farm, just behind Smek. In fact, about 500 gold behind Smek.
It's a very farmed up Mugiwara here, and they're going to look to push into the tower. And SK, will they defend under tower? I'm not sure, but I'm going to take a ride on the back of Sayo, as I'm sure he's considering channeling that ultimate, and that's going to be the thing that sets this off. Unless we see an initiation coming in first. We'll keep with them here for a moment.
If they die here, though, that's game.
That's right.
And this is really making me wonder if they're just going to back away, let this turret fall. And right now, it's been taken very low, and it's leading me to believe that SK is going to back away, let that one drop. If they do fight, maybe on that Phoenix, but we do see Engage coming out of him. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Sayo up in the air. He's going to crash in. He's going to find a stun. It's actually not going to be that good. He's going to be forced to Mjolnir instrument out. Here comes the Kraken. All three Aegis hit. What plays from Cog EU? No damage coming up from that Kraken. They're going to get through all of it. The ultimate's coming up from Zelia, but it's not going well so far for SK. And now Cog EU starting to really put out the damage. Zelia forced to disengage. Restarian finds Sun Touch in the back. Bacchus already down. Proxy picks up Sayo. Will they find Zelia? They will indeed. That's a 4-for-0 exchange so far. Apollo in the base, and this could very well be the game. Ladies and gentlemen, Cog EU looking so strong in game number 1.
I can see how far they were behind in the beginning of the game, down 0-5, able to pull that one back. A great fire giant by them as well to just take that when SK wasn't prepared for it. And they're going to take the first game in this best-of-3 series. They're now one game away of locking down that 7,500 euros.
They are indeed, and I think this one may come down to that Poseidon versus Agni conversation we keep having. That, you know, Agni basically is able to put out a lot more damage during a team fight than a Poseidon. Poseidon has bigger burst, badder burst, but Agni gives you several instances of burst to work with, and as that game went on and on, it just seemed like the sustain from Sprayarn and that damage coming in from Agni was just disgusting, and Mugiwara takes MVP, no question, I think. 4-0-8 put up on that Athena, finds a way to get the farm, finds a way to get his team a win.
Yeah, I mean, like, walk us through the stats that we're currently looking at, because Sprayarn 2-2-12, didn't do bad, had so many assists, but just like you said, Mugiwara 4-0-8 was yet to be killed, earned quite a bit of gold too. Yeah,
you know, puts up 13,000 healing here, does Sprayarn. That's a nice stat to have. And structure damage goes the way of Game Hunter at 4,300. You know, and we didn't see Shibalage be terribly great, but what we did see was some nicely timed ultimates. He goes 2-3-11. He was involved in a lot of kills, but he doesn't necessarily have a huge impact on the game. He doesn't have the split push capabilities like an Apollo, but he does bring that global presence with the ultimate to the table as well. And once again, we just see Thor, either Thor gets rolling or he seems not to, has been while considered a great pickup, has been fairly risky today.
He did get very rolling in the beginning. As you saw him, he pulled off 2 very strong ganks. He just didn't seem to transition well into the later of the game.
Exactly as said earlier in that, you know, he really scales off of his ability, so it really came down to when we're looking at that 18-19 minute mark and he was really doing well. Jotun's Wrath, and they had the Void Blade up and rolling as well. You know, he was just hitting his stride, but then you look at his itemization right after that, he goes directly into the shield, which is a little bit of a hybrid item between magical protection and physical power, instead of going into a full protection item, and that could have maybe cost him those 5 deaths on the back of that.
And for all of you watching, he was wearing those sunglasses the entire game.
I actually forgot until they turned on the program monitor there.
I didn't forget at all.
Yeah, of course you didn't forget. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a quick commercial and then be back with game number 2. Will Cognitive EU close it out and be the champions of the tournament from Gamescom and take home that 7,500 euros, as it were? We will find out next. For Jason Kaplan, my name is HiRezBart, and we'll see you guys in a few short moments with game number 2 between SK and Cog EU.